Mom, I saw Dylan's dad make dinner. Like, actually cook, and it was straight fire. He said it was Blue Apron Assemble and Bake. All the ingredients showed up pre-chopped, and he just laid it out on a baking sheet, and no cap. Dinner was on the table in like 25 minutes. Apparently, it's chef designed, and it has like over 40 grams of protein. That's a lot, right? So maybe we try it. Just saying. You can be the next Dylan's dad. Blue Apron. Get $50 off your first 2 orders plus free shipping with code STIR50. Terms and conditions apply. Visit blueapron.com/terms for more.
With Car Guru's Discover, you can skip the filters and describe what you're looking for in your own words. Simply type what you want, and Car Guru's Discover instantly surfaces real listings that match your exact needs. It's no wonder Car Gurus is the #1 most visited car shopping site according to SimilarWeb's estimated traffic data. Buy or sell your next car today with Car Gurus at cargurus.com. Go to cargurus.com to make sure your big deal is the best deal. That's cargurus.com. cargurus.com.
It's World Indoor Athletics Championships Eve. The action starts in Tehran in Poland tomorrow, and a team of nearly 30 athletes will be racing and representing Great Britain and Northern Ireland. I'm Michael.
And I'm John. As we heard in the previous episode, a really strong British team, including Keely Hodgkinson, Dina Asher-Smith, Georgia Hunter-Bell, Molly Cordery, and a multiple world and Olympic medalist.
The World Indoors is the only established competition that everyone in the world can do. And so that was a big priority for me.
Yes, Josh Kerr. Michael chatting to him shortly. He'll be racing over 3,000 metres and looking to win a backer title that he won in 2024 at the World Indoor Championships in Glasgow. He also confirms to us he'll be back in Glasgow competing later this year at those Commonwealth Games.
Now, the size of this team, and more importantly perhaps the quality of this team, has also made us wonder who the next big name is in British athletics. Who will that be? Will it be Yemi Mary John, who won the British Indoor Championships over 400 metres a few weeks back, beating Amber Anning, who won the world title 12 months ago? Now, Yemi has already got world and Olympic medals in the relays.
Been away for a while, NCAA system, so I was more stateside. So it's always such a pleasure and such an honour to be able to, come back and represent GB.
We'll round up the rest of the news of the Games, including the Youth Commonwealth Games. This is Anything But Footy. Download, listen, follow us on the socials, pass it on to your friends and fellow Olympic and Paralympic Games fans.
So the World Indoor Championships open up on Friday morning with the opening rounds of the men's 60 metres, amongst other events. Saturday night, we'll see a straight final of 15 go in the men's 3,000. Now, that entry list includes Geordie Beamish of New Zealand, Jared Nagusi of the United States, and Cole Hocker of the USA as well. Geordie, you might recall, won gold in Glasgow at the World Indoors in 2024, over 1,500. Jared won the Olympic bronze in 2024, whilst we all remember Cole Hocker edging out Josh Kerr at the Stade de France for Olympic gold over the same distance. Let's hear now from Josh.
It does allow me to have a little bit of time to reflect. I don't normally sit around thinking about, past seasons or, some complications that come up. But, I do think it allows me time to go, I have come pretty far since that day. And, I've had some amazing help from my medical staff and my coaching staff and everyone helping me along the way. And now we're in a position to go after a world indoor gold medal. And that's a very proud moment for my team as well as myself. And excited to go out there and compete.
That's really interesting because you guys are always looking ahead, plotting what's next, whether that's the cycle or the season, the indoor season, the outdoor season. It's always looking into the future.
Yeah, that's kind of the way that the sport goes. And, anyone that retires then starts to have a look back and go, I wish I could have enjoyed that more. And I'm sure I'm going to be the exact same. But, when your goal is to, gather as many gold medals as possible, it's just not really a time to sniff the roses and reflect. But, I try and do that as much as I can, but, we're trying to batter along here and move on to the next World Championships. Yeah, over that 3K distance, I feel pretty confident.
Let's talk about that World Indoors, of course. How are you feeling going into that in terms of what you've done indoors this season already?
Yeah, I mean, we started off with the Melrose Games over the 2 mile. Was hoping to win that, but it was good to get through a full race and without any problems. It was a great kind of stepping stone for me to get my teeth stuck into some races in the indoor season. And then there was just the opportunities weren't really the ones I wanted, and then coming back for British Champs, there were some complications. So yeah, haven't really raced since then, but it's been good training. In a really good spot fitness wise, really strong, and got some good speed in my legs. So yeah, I think I'm an under racer, I guess, by trade, and it was the same in 2024 when I won the World Indoor title. I'd ran the Melrose Games and World Indoors, and those are my two events. So it looks like it's going to be the same thing this year.
I remember, obviously, you're winning that gold in Glasgow, as you say, a couple of years ago. Would have been a very special moment for you, of course, at home. But how do you go about selecting and picking what championships to race in? Because your legs and I guess the mind, you can't do everything.
Yeah, you really can't. And as athletes, we have to prioritize as much as possible and try not make it really emotional until it needs to be. And so, there's a couple of dates that are circled in my book for outdoors, and the World Indoors were circled for indoors, and then everything else is like, if the body's capable, the body's capable. If it's not, then don't push it. And that's kind of the way that I view my season in general. And the World Indoors is the only established competition that everyone in the world can do. And so that was a big priority for me. And it was also far enough away from the World Championships last September that I'd had enough time to recover and get fit enough to run it. So that's the priority for me right now. It's kind of, I get tunnel vision when I get close to these races. It's difficult to then go, okay, well, I want to, obviously Commonwealth Games is a huge part of the outdoor season for me. But outside of that, like, it's just, is the body going to be capable? So that's kind of where my brain goes with it.
And what a strong Great Britain and Northern Ireland team have been selected for these championships. I mean, when I looked at the list when it was revealed, there's lots of world and Olympic medalists in there. That's not always the case at indoor championships, but this one looks special.
Yeah, it is special. I think in an off year, like no Olympics coming up this year, I think, it allows the best athletes in the UK to go after these championships. And everyone wants major medals, everyone wants to go after big gold medals, and we've been very lucky to have the athletes that we have, and turning up to these championships, we're going to be a bit of a powerhouse. And I think we need to keep an eye on the medal table for sure, because that's where we're at with British athletics at this point. I think we have so much individuals that can go out and chase medals that this could be a really exciting one. And it's probably the strongest team that we've sent to a indoor championships in a very long time.
And in general terms, I think those medal moments, those water cooler moments are important for the general public. I've just come back from the Winter Olympics, for example, and to come back and hear people talking about Matt Weston in skeleton because of his success, we need to see our big names come together in teams, go to the big championships and win medals, don't we, for the health of the sport?
Yeah, definitely. The more that we can expose the younger generation to these kind of individual successes and these team successes, hopefully will fuel the fire for them to know that it's possible for people who are from where they're from. It's massively important to show that. I think what's happening is there's so many competitions, it's starting to dilute kind of the athletes into different areas. And I think with this year, with just a World Indoors and no World Outdoors or Olympic Games, it allows us to kind of all kind of come together and go after big performances. It would obviously be nice to do it on home soil for a World Indoors, but we did that a couple of years ago, and doing it in Europe is special enough.
You mentioned the Commonwealth Games a few times. I imagine the organisers of Glasgow 2026 will be delighted that at the support that you are giving the event. It was a no-brainer for you to nail your colours to the mast for Team Scotland for that.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't quite been selected yet, so I'm holding my breath for that one, but I think I'll be all right.
I think you will.
I don't know. I look back on 2024 at the World Indoors in Glasgow, and I remember sitting in my hotel room beforehand thinking, not only is this a great opportunity to win a world title, this is a opportunity that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. This is a race I'm going to remember for the rest of my life, and it's something that maybe I can do something today that's going to inspire someone sitting in the crowd watching on and there with their club that day, and those moments live are huge. And so having the Commonwealth Games now in Glasgow, that's another massive opportunity, and a competition that happens every 4 years. Obviously, it's not the the healthiest competition that the world's ever seen, but I still hold it to a very high standard. Is what I grew up talking about. Is what I grew up, chatting about with other Scottish athletes when I was pulling on the Scotland vest. British championships and European championships and things like that. So I think these are the moments where I start to get a little nostalgic, because it's the competitions that I wanted to go after when I was a kid. So I know that other kids in Scotland are thinking the exact same thing right now, and it's my duty to show up for them and go out and show why Scotland have the best middle distance runners in the world.
And of course, you are going to be representing Great Britain and Northern Ireland in Poland. But what does it mean to you to wear the Salter and represent Scotland, and casting your mind back to the Glasgow World Indoors, to be there, one of their own?
Yeah, it's very special in both ways. Obviously, representing the UK is incredibly special because it's such an achievement in itself. And to represent the whole country is a massive achievement. But I think it's just different. Putting on a Scotland vest it's nostalgic for me. It represents a lot for me. As like I said, when I was a kid, in Edinburgh Athletic Club, looking up to that next generation of athletes going to the Commonwealth Games, and I think that's always very special, and it's going to be a very special moment again. And to do that on home soil is something that I'll never get to do again in my career. And so you gotta take those opportunities when they're there.
I know it's selection pending, and I know we've spoken before about rivalries in sport, and you've had well-publicised rivalries, but people want to see this Josh Kerr, Jake Whiteman shootout, don't they, in Glasgow at that Commonwealth Games? It would be a big, big deal.
Yeah, I hope so. I think, both of us have established our careers over the last, even the last 4 or 5 years. Both of us are trying to be the best 1500 meter runner in the world. And, it's difficult to be claimed as the best 1500 meter runner from Edinburgh AC at this point. So it's that competition is huge. I have a lot of respect for him, but he knows as well as I know that both of us want to go out and win that title. And he was a lot closer than I was in 2022, and I'm looking to take that title back.
Just finally, this title on the line, this next title, this next target, how important is it for you to represent Great Britain and Northern Ireland at these World Indoors?
Yeah, extremely important. Extremely important. It represents a lot for me. Coming back to the world stage, going after a title that I was going after 4 or 5 months ago that I didn't feel like I had the proper go at, but I was ready for. And so I'm fit, I'm ready, and I'm coming back for titles that were mine. So it's a massive representation of my career.
Josh Kerr with Michael. At the last World Indoors, Great Britain and Northern Ireland's Amber Anning won gold. She's chosen to miss this event this time around to concentrate on the outdoor season. That decision came after she finished runner-up to Yemi Mary John at the British Indoor Championships. And Michael has been chatting to the British champion.
Well, first and foremost, you are in Poland. We are on the eve of the championships. How are you? How is the setup? How is everything there?
Great, the setup's good. We haven't had a chance to look at the racing track yet, so I'm excited to see that tonight, but feeling good, feeling excited.
What does it mean to you to represent Great Britain and go to these big championships? Because you're not a stranger to them, but you're still, to some people, a relatively new name, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it means a lot. Obviously, I've been away for a while, NCAA system, so I was more stateside. So it's always such a pleasure and such an honor to be able to, come back and represent GB and be back with sort of teammates. A lot of them I grew up with, some I grew up watching. So yeah, it always means a lot.
What is the secret of the success with the collegiate system in America? Because you've got the likes of Josh Kerr out there, of course, Amber Anning, who you will know very well, yourself and many others as well.
I think it's just choosing the right setup. I can't say that there's a one shoe fits all. Just as much as it's worked for many people, it hasn't worked for many others. So yeah, I can't say there's really any secret. It's just trial and error like anything else.
And what is it like when you then come back together as a British team, having sort of been in all your various training bases around the world? You've got people in Italy, you've got guys like yourself in the States.
Yeah, well, just to know, I am back in the UK now, actually, for this past summer. But yeah, coming all together, it's always great just to have all of us back in the same place, with all our different faces. And, yeah, just meeting back up in the middle is always, just great energy and so supportive.
Now, as I said, you've been at a few of these championships already. When do you go from that point where you have imposter syndrome and it's all new and fresh to thinking, I'm established on this team, I'm confident, I am aware, and I know my surroundings?
Yeah. Well, I think at champs, every champs is so unique. So you're always going to feel, different emotions, even if it's not imposter syndrome, there might be nerves or other things. So I can't say that, there aren't new feelings every time because every champs is new. It's a new environment. World Indoors is another new, different experience and another new, different track and country. But yeah, I think once you just get comfortable with, knowing what you're doing, being more familiar with the team, the staff, I think, yeah, just over the course of, couple of teams, couple of years, you sort of get more comfortable with it.
And you're part of a really strong British team. That is what a lot of people are talking about. A lot of big names, a lot of medal hopes in this team this time.
Yeah, I think it's exciting for all of us. It's so inspiring to see, so many other people going out there with Keely's world record a couple of weeks ago. I think, yeah, just being surrounded by so many great names and so many other great athletes is definitely inspiring. And I hope I can add to that.
And what do you take from the fact that you're arriving there as the British indoor champion? You're the best in the country.
Yeah, I think it's about just staying focused and level-headed. Obviously, yeah, happy and elated to come away from British champs as British champion, but that's not the ultimate goal. That's not, the big target. I think this championships, there's so many people walking in as their country's best. So I need to remember the bigger goal, the bigger picture, and sort of, yeah, just stay focused.
And in that British Championships, of course, you beat the reigning world indoor champion, which is Amber Anning. You must take an enormous amount of confidence from that result.
Yeah, I think me and Amber race so well together. There's such a great competitive energy and spirit that we both have when we get on the track. So it's always great being able to line up against her. And I think, yeah, she just gives great competition. So it's definitely a great race.
And let me talk to you about this progression that you've had in your career, because obviously you've had medals, gold medals coming through the age group ranks and under 20s, under 23s. How difficult is it then to make that step up into the senior team? Because not all juniors, not all good age group racers make it to where you have.
Yeah, it's definitely a very different dynamic. It's a different scene. There's a different level of intensity. And of course, you still want to come out here and still enjoy yourself and, have love for the sport that you're doing. But you definitely need to turn it up a notch. So it was definitely a big step up, but I'm ready for the challenge.
Yeah, what are those challenges? What are the differences?
At junior level, a lot of people are sort of just riding on talent. At a senior level, everyone's talented, but everyone is also disciplined and very hardworking. So, yeah, I think that's the difference. No one's riding on just pure talent alone, and it's about being able to put in the work and having that race plan, that strategy, those all those little things in place.
Now, let me talk to you about this year, because I imagine as an athlete, it's quite a difficult one to try and negotiate. You've got these world indoors. There is a Commonwealth Games. There's a European Championships, both of them taking place in the British Isles, and ultimate World Championships. At what point are you sitting down and planning what you're hoping to do after the end of this indoor season, moving to outdoors?
We've been planning from months before. So we knew from the start of the season, what my goals, where my peaks, what my aims were. I think it's always important to know what we're sort of aiming for in the season before we even start training. So we've had those conversations early on in the season, and I've already sort of got my eye on a lot of these competitions.
Are you able to share anything about what you're going to be targeting, whether you're going for everything, what you're hoping to do?
Yeah, well, broadly speaking, obviously my first season as a full pro and being on the pro circuit, I think just establishing myself in the pro world, and just, going for especially the home meets and all the big championships, I think just really getting not only that experience, but yeah, like I said, just establishing myself on this senior level.
This weekend, what for you represents a level of success, something you would be proud of?
Well, I always run to win. So to me, my eyes are always on gold.
So that's me in conversation with Yemi Mary John. Big talk, John, from Josh Kerr. Says this is a title he wants back. It was a title that was his, and he wants to win it again. But also great news that he is committed to the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow this year.
Yeah, a couple of things I think with Josh Kerr, Michael, and you, when we introduced it, you talked about that Olympic final where we all expected him in Paris 2024 to win the gold medal. He was the world champion at the time. We knew if he beat Ingebrigtsen that he probably would win the gold medal, and then Cole Hocker came on the outside and the inside, and no one saw him, and certainly Josh Kerr didn't. Now, of course, then the World Championships outdoor, where we heard from Amy Hunt in the last episode, winning that really crucial silver medal for her career. Josh Kerr got injured in a fall in the heats, and then he went into the final and wasn't quite fit, and it was disappointing to see him pull up so soon in that. So a lot of talk about Josh Kerr in the last couple of years. We know he is a superstar, as you say, but he has to start winning again. And I think that's the hardest part of athletics. And whether we go back to the years when we were talking about Seb Coe and Steve Cram, when we were watching them as kids, the fact that they just won every time, but then at some point they stop winning, and it's really hard to get it back. So I think Josh has really been clear that he wants to get back into the medals this time. So I think this is a really crucial World Indoors. As you say, he's won it before. Can he do it in Poland this time? We'll wait and see. But then his head is again a huge summer with the Europeans and a home games, of course, as he's from Scotland for the Commonwealth Games. So it does feel like 2026 is massive for Josh Kerr. I'm not saying that he won't do any of it. I'm just saying I think it shows how big it is. And I remember the morning after that Olympic final, Michael, being asked the question on Talk Sport about, well, he can go again. He won a silver medal in the Olympic final. He can go again. And I said, well, 4 years is a long time. And 4 years is a long time. We're 2 years on from that. Can we see him respond? Will he be back? Let's find out.
Yeah, the other thing to remember, of course, is he won a bronze in Tokyo. So it's not like Paris was his first Olympics. So he's 7 years on from that initial Olympic medal when he gets to LA. Just to run through some of the highlights of the men's team, we spoke about Jeremiah Razu, of course, in the 60 metres. Also in that race, as you mentioned in the last episode, Jodie Smith. I'll be interested to see how Ben Patterson goes in the 800. And obviously Scott Lincoln is the other one I think worth just keeping an eye on in the shot put, because, of course, he reached the world final outdoors last year, which was a big breakthrough moment for Scott. A much stronger winning women's team as well. We've heard there from Yemi Mary John, Dina Asher-Smith and Amy Hunt. Both of them could conceivably, as we know, be on the podium in the women's 60 metres. You've got Yemi in the 400 with Louisa Stoney, the Belgrave Harrier. You talked about Izzy Boffey and Keely Hodgkinson in the last episode. Georgia Hunter-Bell and Gemma Reekie in the 1500 as well. So, you've got a lot of strength in depth there. And then you get into some of the field events and the likes of Molly Caudry and that 4x400 metres relay team as well. So I think it'll be interesting to see how those established names get on, but also some of those newer names that won't be as familiar to our listeners.
And I also make the same point I made about Josh Kerr with Molly Caudry. To be brutally honest, she became that world indoor champion in the pole vault and hasn't really delivered since. I know there has been injuries. So again, 2026 for me, it's a moving year. We're 2 years out from the LA Olympics, effectively, come the summer. This is a moving year. This is when you begin to see who is going to be potentially there in LA. And I'd love Molly Caudry to be part of that. I'd love, as you say, Yemi Mary John as well, and Amber Anning. There is some incredible strength as in depth, as you say, for the British women's team from an athletics point of view. We want to see that with the men as well, making sure that we've got it right across the board and seeing some new names come through from the men's team.
This is Anything But Footy. Our news from the Games coming up. We cover the Olympics, the Paralympics, and I should mention the Commonwealth Games too. All the time, not just once, every 4 years.
This is Anything But Footy. In other news from the Games, Malta has announced the dates and venues ahead of the 2027 Commonwealth Youth Games. If anyone thought the Commonwealth Games was coming to an end, I think the last 6 months has proved, or the last year, that there is the drive, the determination to put on these events. Now, Malta and Gozo will host 8 sports across 6 days. It's the 8th edition of the Commonwealth Youth Games, and Malta will host approximately 1,200 athletes from 74 nations and territories. And it will come the year, of course, after Glasgow 2026 this summer.
Yeah, the opening ceremony will take place on the 29th of October. That's a Friday night. There will be medals up for grabs over the competition in 4x4 water polo, swimming and para-swimming, athletics and para-athletics, squash, weightlifting, sailing, netball and triathlon. And I think that's interesting because the Glasgow Commonwealth Games footprint, of course, eliminates some of those sports that have traditionally been in the games, like triathlon, like squash, for example, and also other big team sports like hockey that haven't made the cut for Glasgow, could be back on the agenda for India. And I think it's important that they do then find their place here in the youth games, the Commonwealth Youth Games.
Yeah, because India, of course, staging the Commonwealth Games in 2030, as you say. And we're also in the middle of a series at the moment. If you keep on listening to the podcast of Great British Bosses, we're hoping to speak to the CEO of Table Tennis England as part of that. And Table Tennis England are delighted that India have said that table tennis will be back for their Commonwealth Games. So this is the thing at the moment with these kind of sporting events, that you've got to have the drive and the determination to be able to put your sport front and center, and you've got to fight for it. So we know that swimming and athletics and netball will probably be in every Commonwealth Games moving forward, but the others, it really is all up for grabs. And that is why it's really important that these sports organisations and federations keep fighting the good fight.
And it has to be like that because these events need to be fluid. Otherwise, as we've discovered over the past couple of editions with the Commonwealth Games, you won't find a host. The games need to fit into the existing footprint, the existing infrastructure.
And interesting as well, slightly, that it's in autumn. So just the youth games anyway, which again, there's no set time for a youth games, but it offers something different. You've got to put it in a time zone. We saw it with the World Athletics Championships, I think in Tokyo. It's just too hot. You can't have some of the events taking place. The marathon was at in the wee small hours. I think when the Olympics was originally going to be in Tokyo, the marathon started about 4 a.m. or something like that. It's just bizarre. So I think we have to move it. I remember growing up, the Olympics was never at the same time every year. We've got into this habit now. The Summer Olympics is the end of July, beginning of August, and that's when it's got its place. But that's because, of course, the sporting calendar is just so rammed.
Yep, Sydney Olympics in 2000 was a September event predominantly. What will Brisbane do in 2032? We also always call it the Summer Olympics. Let's remember that's actually the winter in Australia. So,
it's like when we went to Rio.
Yes, it's actually a winter games for them, although it's the Summer Olympics. The latest Olympics, Paralympics and Commonwealth Games news, all available on our social. Search for Anything But Footy. Get in touch via our website, anythingbutfooty.com. You can listen to our Olympics music playlist on Spotify. And we've got a new strap line.
Oh, I'm liking this.
You do it.
No.
Do it.
Okay. Well, this is the first time I'm reading it. I'm very excited. Here we go. This is Anything But Footy, gearing up for Glasgow and looking ahead to LA.